Morning, Nathan. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the August 31st edition of the Morning Coffee Review. I'm Jason Artley, joined here with Michael Achave, and we're here to talk all things Bluebeam. How you doing today, Michael?
Doing good. It's a nice day out here, a little cooler over here in Arizona for all of us Arizona folks. And if there's any PST folks out here, thanks for joining us today. We will be having our next PST morning coffee review. Is it next week?
Yeah, I've got to change my calendar to find out.
It is next week. It is the 8th.
Yeah.
Because we will not be having, yes, and it's because we will not be having our Tuesday morning coffee review next week, right?
I forgot. Thank you for reminding me.
Yes, so let's talk about that.
This coming weekend is Labor Day weekend. And hopefully you all have big plans to go do something fun, or at least relax, or get stuff done around the house, whatever. But we're going to enjoy a nice long weekend. And then that following Tuesday, we're not going to have a morning coffee review. That would be on September 7th that we're skipping. Instead, we're going to just do our Wednesday morning coffee review goes west at 8:30 Pacific time on that Wednesday. So if you would normally join us on a Tuesday, and you're more than welcome to come join us on a Wednesday, and we'll kind of combine them there. Topic yet to be determined, right?
Correct. And also, this will be the only one we skip. So don't feel left out that we will ever have another skipping. It just kind of worked out with everyone's calendar and project work that we were decided to push it back a little bit. So.
And I'm so excited for Labor Day weekend. I'm going camping. And I'm going to two new spots. So I'm very excited.
So Jason is ready for that. And if you do have any questions in the meantime, though, feel free to come into the Goes West. It will be at 8:30 PST. So we will still be having one that week. We just will not be having this one specifically. And if I'm correct, DJ CJ may have removed it from the calendar as well in terms of the back end. So you will not have it on your calendar. So you won't be able to join.
Reminded.
Yeah,
there you go.
Or reminded.
Well, speaking of topics and questions, so today we have a topic that's not going to take up our whole time.
No.
It would be pretty hard to stretch this one out. So today, if you've got any questions, got anything bugging you, again, doesn't have to be related to what we're going to talk about. Just anything Bluebeam Review, or I should say anything Bluebeam, right? Because we don't just talk review here on the Morning Coffee Review.
Correct.
Sometimes we talk about the other products like drawings or Prime or stapler or iPad.
Or what's new on Michael's wall.
What's new on Michael's wall. There's so many things that we like to talk about here. So today we're going to be talking about something, again, we get a lot of questions about this one. And I've had a couple calls in the past week asking about digital signatures in Revu. What do they do? How do they work? How does it compare to Adobe? And this is a question I have for all of you. I almost said all of y'all just to make DJ CJ happy, but it just didn't come naturally. Give me some time. So there's a function in Adobe that I heard about. Maybe you've heard about this too, Michael, where you can send it off to somebody. So let's say you're a job applicant, right? And you're applying for a job. The company can send you something in Adobe to sign, and it knows. I should be reading this instead of just pulling this off the top of my head, but it knows when you opened it, it knows when you signed it, and when you signed it, it emails you a report back saying that, hey, this person did that. We don't have that functionality in Revu that I'm aware of. Maybe there's a script that could be written there, or maybe it would be something you do in a session where you could alert somebody, but I don't know. I thought that was a pretty unique thing. I'm like, I hate to give the W to Adobe, but it does happen.
But that's just for alerting it, correct? I wonder. I think DocuSign does that too, right?
Yeah. So it's more in that DocuSign sort of workflow. That was immediately what came to my mind. But in Revu, we do have some very powerful digital signatures, and we'll start looking at those here in just a second. And we'll talk about the different types of document certification. like I said, this topic isn't going to take a whole lot of time. I see some good questions about Bluebeam Drawings, and we'll discuss that here in just a moment as well. So while we start our talk, fill up the chat, fill up the Q&A panel with other things, and we'll dive into those as we go.
Yeah, I'm gonna prep drawings right now, Jason. Do you want to share your screen, or do you want me to start this?
I'll do, you prep for drawings, I'll prep for signatures, and we'll just do our thing, right? Okay. So I'm going to open up Review 20.2.40. And, oh boy, let's just find something to sign, right? I'm going to go to one of these files that I haven't opened up in a long time. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, there's all sorts of stuff on this one. So we've got some accessibility details. Again, a lot of the files that you see us open here on Morning Coffee Review were provided by Bluebeam. They're not anybody's company specific thing. Sometimes they're architectural, sometimes they're mechanical, sometimes they're civil. What's on the screen doesn't matter. It's the workflow that matters. So this one, let's say that this is something that I approve of. I'm the signing engineer, and I want to be able to sign this thing. So I have a stamp here. I also have not for construction, right? We don't stamp things that are not for construction, but that's besides. I can certainly use my PDF content tool, erase content, and wipe that out. Let's pretend that's not there. And now we'll insert our stamp and sign this thing. Now there's a couple ways that we can sign. So the first workflow is going to be accessible to everybody, right? Review standard, CAD or extreme, doesn't matter. You will have the ability to sign things and do a digital signature with all versions of Review. The second way is through the batch, where you can sign and seal at the same time for multiple files and documents. This is an extreme function only, right?
Everything in there is extreme because you don't see the batch unless you have extreme. Yep.
So here for tools, we're going to go down here to signature, and we have two options: sign document, certify document. What's the difference between those two?
Certifying, I was actually just looking at this. So certified documents, and I'll read from Bluebeam to give you more of an accurate versus me explaining it in an incorrect way. So documents can be certified usually by the person who created it or by the first signer as being authentic. Additionally, certifying a document prevents signers from making changes to its page content. The certifier has the option to allow other limited changes to the document, including addition of markups, the completion of form fields, or other applications and digital signatures. As such, documents should be certified only if they are complete.
So there is a difference between these two. Thank you for reading that off the Bluebeam website, because I wouldn't have described it that well either. So there's a little bit into the weeds here. There are different certification levels and digital codes and standards that digital signatures have to follow. Yep. I've signed a lot of things with Bluebeam Revu, and I haven't had an issue with any of them. Working remote full time, I do all my HR paperwork for ATG with Bluebeam Revu. It works well. Haven't had issues. I think I even used it to refinance my house. Not during working hours, of course.
And there's different, there's different authentication for those as well. By the way, if you're looking for the security code behind them in terms of how they're being signed, I forget that there's 3 of them. I'll look them up right now. And if you're worried about the different items behind it, and also if you need a certified authentic signature, you can still use that in the batch sign and seal, because the authentic signature you're uploading is whatever that signature was.
Right. All right, so let's go sign something. So I'm going to go here to sign document. And the first thing you do when you do a sign, it's going to throw you into a tool. And this wants you to put a rectangle on your page to identify where your signature is going to be. Right? Now, this workflow kind of bugs me. I'll say that right now. So I'll make my rectangle. And once that rectangle is complete, it's going to bring you to a spot where you're going to use your digital ID to sign in. So here you can choose, here's mine, or you can create a new one. So if you haven't created one before, you can go to new, and this is where it will give you an option to create this digital ID. This digital ID, here we go, here's that format, PKCS number 12.
Yeah, number 12 standards is what it is. It also supports Adobe CDS signatures.
Okay. Or you can create it in the Windows Certificate Store. I've never messed this one, but this is an important thing. This digital ID is protected by your Windows login.
Mm-hmm.
That password is a little easier to remember than my Bluebeam one sometimes.
Well, I mean, I created a 4-digit PIN for mine, so mine's pretty simple. Actually, it's a 5-digit because you need a numerical value. It can't just be numbers.
So you can choose which one. I think I would pick either one. They're about the same. And you can add your information here. Remember your password, because maybe let's make a test one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do this guy. Jason test. I'm so creative. Unit. Ooh. Well, I'm on the civil team, and I work for ATG USA. My email address is.
Everyone write that email address down.
That's right. Please send me all your Bluebeam questions all the time, because I will forward them straight to Michael. All right. Digital signatures and data encryption. I can do this and hit OK.
Here's your algorithm too, though. So okay, too late. It's fine. You're good. You're good.
There's an algorithm, and that's a big word to say without more coffee. Hang on. All right, so I've signed in. Now it's not prompting me for a password right now because it knows my Windows credentials already, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, you just created it, yeah.
Yeah, and I can choose, do I want to do as digital signature or document certification? And notice when I go to document certification, I get this other pull down here.
Yep.
Permitted changes after certifying. I can still fill in forms in digital signatures, or no changes allowed. Or I can still do markups, fill in forms, and digital signatures. This is a weird one. I don't know what scenario that you would still want to allow people to make changes to your file. Maybe that's a contractual thing, but for me, I'm saying no changes allowed, right? I'm certifying this file as is. That's it. And my reason, because I am, I attest to the accuracy and integrity, and I can add all this information, right? Ooh, thanks for that, Ed. So, Ed, I appreciate you. The permission thing, it would be needed when you need multiple engineers to sign one document. There we go. This happens. We actually get questions about this all the time, and it didn't just click. Because yeah, sometimes in a normal set of plans, you've got a landscape architect, you've got a mechanical engineer, and a civil engineer, and an architect. You can have multiple people sign it. There you go. All right. And then here you have your appearance of your signature. Currently, this is what it shows by default, and it's kind of ugly, right? I can edit this, and I can choose what I want to show, right? Maybe I don't want to have the Bluebeam logo, and you're getting a live preview down at the bottom here. I can turn off the labels. I can turn off automatic. I can just have it do whatever for size. I can choose my justification here. Here's one that I see some people do. Now, if you have a Microsoft Surface or an iPad or a phone with a stylus, makes it really easy to draw your signature, and you can actually use that as a text image. And I can bring in a graphic of a file, right? I'm going to use ATG logo because I'm not creative today. I can bring in that logo or that graphic of my signature, right? And then I could turn all this other stuff off. I could turn all this off, and that digital signature would just look like my pen and paper signature, right? So there's some cool stuff that you can do with that to make it look real, but it's still digital and it still follows that encryption and certification and those algorithms that Mike was talking about. So I have that capability. Now with this, I can save this entirely. I'm not going to. I kind of messed this one up, but
And the
once
reason
in a
why
while-
you would save this is when you have a selection drop down, you can choose which type of preview image you're using, or signature, I guess you would say.
correct. You'll be able to make different ones. So maybe you're
Mhm.
signing something that maybe you have a smaller graphic that's meant to go on top of your seal, right? And maybe you have another graphic that's spread out to be like on a signature line for a contract. Right? There's different scenarios where you might want different sizes or different names. You know, maybe you're doing PE or not doing PE or whatever. So you can create that, hit OK, and then you'll have these appearances, right? So if I make a new one, I can have one for stamp sized, where I can turn off different things. And now I have my appearance. See? So you can set them up accordingly, and you can have, I don't think there's a limit to how many of these you can have, and they will all follow under the same digital ID, right? So it works out well for that case, but you will, of course, need to create all these. And that workflow is fine. If I hit OK right now, it's going to ask me to save, right? So you always put signed after it. Because now this is saved and I certified it, I allowed no changes. Look at all my markup tools. They got grayed out. I can't do anything to them. I locked myself out of my own file.
And usually if you close out of it right now, it's not showing it, you'll see a lock. Yeah. And
It didn't even ask me to save. Yeah. If I open it now, the file you are opening contains document certification. Would you like to open the signatures tab to view the certification status? Yes, I would. There we go. The document is certified by Jason. This date, this time, reason why, boom, there's my signature. Again, I opened up this file. I'm the one who signed it, and even I still don't have the ability to make changes to this file. So that's a document certification. If we were to go back through, I'll close this one, and I'll open up my original file here. If I were to go do a signature and just sign it, I have the same workflow. Now, before I do this, this is the annoying part. This is what bugs me. If I do this and I hit cancel, now I'm left with a signature block, and I can't select it.
You can delete them though from the signature.
You have to go over
panel.
here,
Yeah.
but it's not there. I can't delete this. I can't get rid of this box because if I click on it, it's going to ask me to signature to sign
What is that? The pen thing there. You can't go try this again. I can't.
this thing.
Nope,
It'll just ask me
the
to
one to
sign
the
it.
right. The one to the right. Just doesn't give you the
certify, add signature field. There's no way to get rid of this.
Can you go to forms? Is it in forms then?
You can't right click on it either. The way I do this is just go up to undo.
Is there a forms? Can you open the forms panel though? Redo. Control Y.
Here.
Yeah. Control Y.
Control Y.
Yeah, you delete it here.
Oh.
There you go.
See, that's not something you'd think of doing. That's a nice workflow, Michael. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right.
Nate said you could right click. Can you right click? Let's see.
You cannot right click. If you, well, let me get off of signatures thing. Here, if I right click, nothing happens. Middle click does nothing. Left click wants me to sign it.
So yeah, form fields, because you can also see signatures from forms. So yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, look at that. Well, forms is extreme only too, correct. Ooh.
But you can still see the fields in it. So the panel's still there. It doesn't matter what version you're in.
Interesting. All right, let's go back. Signature, signed document, same thing. Let's assume that I did want this here. If I just have digital signature, I do not have that safety and that security, right? I can do things to it. I can sign it. Let's give it a different reason. I agree to specified portions, of course.
And the appearance is right there before you hit OK. So if you had different ones, yeah, there we go.
We'll hit OK. Again, this one is also signed. Forms doesn't appear to be there in 2019 standard. Okay. So this one is now
standard. It's you can't
yeah.
the forms panel, or yes, you can't see forms. That's correct. But the form panel, you sure you can't see a panel of forms? And
Yeah,
change it to free mode for me, Jason. And let's see if you can even see it in free mode.
View mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get out of the presentation mode real quick. On the right, you can hit the box. Yeah.
So now I'm in the free version of Revu.
Can you
and
right
I
click?
do
See forms.
Oh no. Show no forms. So you're all sorts of messed up then. Use the undo tool if you want to get rid of a signature box if you're in standard, because it appears that the forms panel doesn't even show up in standard. Interesting. Well, I'm going back to the full version. There we go.
That is unfortunate. I guess it would make sense because but why wouldn't they just gray out? Because you still see the forms tab in the tools.
Yeah, it would be nice if that would just gray out, because then you'd be like,
that.
Hey,
yeah.
Well, wait a minute. How come I don't?
Another reason to buy. Yeah, I agree. I always recommend one firm. So if you're a firm, sorry, not one firm, one person in the firm to have extreme if you're not willing to buy everyone extreme.
At least give it to somebody, and whether that be the admin staff that would use a lot of that batch functionality to do slip sheeting or do whatever else, or you're the signing engineer who wants to stamp and seal everything at one time. But usually, the past few conversations I've had, customers have been interested in having admin staff and the signing engineers. They get extreme. Everybody else gets, standard or CAD, whatever is most fitting for them. But at least one per office is pretty good, and then that person will get pretty sick of getting bugged all the time.
Yeah, and I mean for the construction teams as well, majority of them need to have extreme to run the OCR because they're not controlling the type of documents they're receiving, right? So they have to run the optical character recognition to search for things as well.
Good suggestion. All right. So this one has been digitally signed, but not certified. So I still have my tools where I can go still draw and make markups and do whatever. So there's the difference between those two, right? Now, there are some functionalities that are blocked out where I can't make changes after it's been signed, even though I did not choose that when I did that. Notice my forms does no longer work. So this is one of those things where your document needs to be completed prior to being signed. So it's a similar thing that we've encountered with sessions, right? Sometimes you can all the time when you upload a file to sessions, you can't add pages, you can't delete pages, you can't do certain things. And the digital signature works in a very similar way. Ooh, well, let's find out. So David asked a question. Can you uncertify a document that someone has sent to you? Let's find out. So I've signed this one. I was going to use that to go validate signatures. And when you validate signatures, nothing happens. Really? I swear I've done this before, and it's
if there's signs, right? So if it's certified, maybe not signed.
Oh.
Let's see.
Well, it should give me a pop-up and let me know.
You can
digital IDs.
clear a certificate, yes. In order to clear the certificate, you have to right click the certification notice and select clear certificates.
So here I can clear signature. Since interesting, I've saved that one. I was the one that signed it. It does allow me to clear it, but it probably wouldn't allow anybody else since I'm still logged in because this is using my Windows login. It's probably why it's doing that. Then I have my trusted identity.
Yep.
I don't trust that guy. He's crazy. All right. So the only difference between, I won't say the only difference. So we looked at signatures and we looked at certifying a document, right? Just do certify is my recommendation because then you can lock people out, especially if you're sending this off to somebody. Certify gives you that ability to allow no changes, right? Now the batch functionality, the sign and seal. If I were to do this, I can choose all sorts of files, right? I can grab a whole bunch of different files at once, and I can grab the files, I can grab certain pages, and then I can start working through this and choose where I want these to be. Manual placement, there's a whole bunch of things in here. So
it's one place though, just be aware.
right,
And
it's
the same
one place.
Yeah.
So if you've got a complete set of plans with a consistent title block, choose the area where you're going to put your stamp, and you can have that all set up, and then when you're done, boom, it'll rip through all your sets of plans.
And this is my recommended method if you are doing a seal and signature because it certifies the signature. The seal can be moved, which is fine by me, but my signature cannot be modified, right? So that is, instead of doing a stamp that is your signature and a stamp that is also a seal, not recommended personally. But it's your seal and your signature. You're allowed to do whatever you'd like. But in this instance, I would prefer to do the opposite.
Right. You can set all that up, grab your seal, drop it where you want it, pick the digital ID that you want, right? So if you have your one that's your appearance that's set for this one has stamp sized, right? Grab all that, have it set up, have it rip through your plans.
Yeah, and you
done.
can drag this signature right now over and put it on top of your seal. So from the top right, yeah, there it is. It won't be able to be moved later. And
right.
you won't have to scale your seal because your seal would be to scale, hopefully, from your stamps area. So just be aware of that. We use the out of the box seal, which doesn't seem to be to scale, but
right.
then you can
can
do your
resize
placement.
it once it's in here. Like you have that capability to make it larger, but again, you're trying to replicate the wet stamp, right? And that's of a specific size. So when you're creating your own stamp that matches your, state of registration, make sure it's the same diameter. And then, of course, when you're done, hit OK. I'm not going to do that here because I'll probably break something, but it's really, really cool.
Yeah, once you hit OK, it'll prompt you for what pages, and then it'll lock them because it is signaturing them. You can move your stamp after it's been placed because it's a markup, is the stamp is seen as. But you cannot move your signature. So you could go if you wanted and flatten your seal, which is I usually recommend that after. And I think, was there a selection to flatten it after placement?
I don't.
In that batch sign and seal. Look at sit next. Yeah, flatten. I would recommend flatten. Well, the seal too, you can do the flatten. Yeah.
Yep. There we go. Turn that off. So interesting. So to answer your question, David, I don't think we can uncertify a document that somebody else sent us, but we can clear our own certification.
Yeah, I don't know if you can clear someone else's. probably
defeats the
could.
purpose of this, right?
Yeah, I guess you're right. You have to test it.
All right. So, any other questions about signatures or document certification? What you're going to do, set up your digital signature. Ooh, good question, Nate. We'll talk about that.
Oh, it says it right
Set-
here. So any other signatures that have been placed on the document automatically have their validation status revoked. So you can, but their validation status is revoked because it's not validated anymore because you cleared it.
Okay. So we were talking about create your digital ID, right? This is where you're going to go set one up where you can have that, the digital part you need, and then the appearance of said part, right? So if I go here and I go to my settings, I can see all sorts of certification stuff, but manage appearances, stamp size, go to this guy. So here's what we're talking about. Choosing a file that looks like my signature. So what's the best way to create that transparent signature? You're going to want probably a PNG file. This will allow a PNG. Yes?
I use my stamps, but
oh, okay.
that's me.
You make a stamp out of your signature?
Yeah.
That's weird that I did this with my right hand when I'm a lefty. Anyway.
Hmm.
So you can sign it if you're doing like a scan of a piece of paper to use as your stamp. You can do it that way, or if you're on a Surface or an iPad where you have a stylus, you can sign it that way too, and that would give you that transparency. Using the pen tool, or if you do end up scanning a piece of paper, that way you get the nice sort of like pen marks and stuff. Make it a transparent PNG, save that file, and then use that. That will be transparent. But your
They
best
just
bet.
need to, yeah, they just need to update it where you don't have to have a signature, a wet seal. We're done with those days of having PDFs. I mean, having non-PDFs, and it should just be something like this digital signature.
Something about an artist signing their work. You know, if you're a signing engineer, I think there's probably some sort of satisfaction that comes from signing your name on something. I don't know. I'm guessing. If
Could be
anybody
torn between both of them, though.
be torn.
Some people will just be
What's easy? Yeah.
sign it, yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Another question from Ed. If you certify a document, can someone then use Adobe and add their signature to your document in the multi-document scenario? Maybe. I don't know. Have you heard that question come up before, Michael?
If signatures are allowed, you can still use your signature from. It's still following the ISO standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
As long as you allow them to in that selection, right? So that selection would be document certification, fill in forms, and digital signatures.
Okay. We talked certification, setting up a digital ID, creating a graphic for your signature. We did some signing, we did some sealing. Any questions about this before we go switch over to Michael's presentation of drawings to answer a question that came in early?
I know, I was just saying it would be easier instead of having to have a signature, right? Two different ways. You can offer either or, people that still want to sign it, or people that just want to have a digital signature that refrains from it. So
I'll stop my share. You can share yours now. And because you got all set up for drawings, correct?
yes, sir.
So we got a question here. Can you please talk a little bit about Bluebeam Drawings? Is it included with the Bluebeam enterprise licensing? And when I was invited to a Bluebeam Studio project, I had two options, review or drawings. All right. So there's a sort of a hidden question there. Is it included with Bluebeam enterprise licensing? Enterprise licensing requires maintenance. Bluebeam Drawings requires maintenance. So if you are on maintenance, whether that be a standalone license, enterprise, or open, those are the three types of licensing for review. If you're on enterprise or open, you're guaranteed to have maintenance. If you're on standalone, for perpetual, you might not have maintenance. If you do have maintenance, which you should do, just because that's what's going to give you access to all the updates and all the other things. Then you'll be able to access drawings, right? So with that drawings functionality, let's assume that you have it, and then we'll be able to do this.
Yeah, you'll want to log into your gateway as the admin of the account, right? Or your admin has given you access from your keys, and then you can manage drawing users and get people upload access to it. That's how you'll do it. So from here, once you're in drawings, you can go to your, this is when you open drawings.bluebeam.com, and you can open it from here even if you don't have maintenance, because drawings is free. The only thing that you have to have when you have maintenance is upload it in terms of sets. So from here, you can go into any of the projects that you've been invited to from the drawings portal, but there may not be documents in it, right? Because they haven't uploaded it themselves to drawings. But I had the ability to go through and see all of my projects from Studio Projects in Revu, which is free storage when you purchase any license of Revu. But in order to upload PDFs to drawings, you have to have, again, like Jason was saying, active maintenance. And you have to be an uploader. And I've done that for my file share. Now, in my file share, I have PDFs that have been published. And you won't see this button again if you do not have active maintenance and you are not an uploader. So there are some, we'll just say Joe over in the corner works for our firm. We have maintenance. He just won't see this because I haven't given him access to upload yet. Now, when you're getting ready to publish or upload a set, you can hit upload and you can grab documents directly from your project, which is in your studio projects, right? So this is a way to have one true area of your PDF so you don't have duplicates. Or you can drag and drop from your computer or click the button here and say upload from computer. But again, we should be having it stored in one local area. So I'm gonna hit cancel here. I've already done a couple. When you are done, it'll ask you to review those PDFs that you have. And it's gonna go through and number these for you, like sheet number, grab some data. If it doesn't have it filled in, that's why it waits for you to publish them, because you need to review them and say, oh, there was no sheet title here. Let me go through and give it a sheet title. What was the issue date? If there's a specific revision that you wanted to name for the comments, you have that ability as well. And then you publish the set. Now, this is when you're ready to push it out to everyone that has access to it on drawings, right? It hasn't been given to anybody yet because I haven't published it. It's processed, but I haven't given it to everyone to download a copy yet. So if I'm out in the field and I hit publish sets, well, if I'm not out in the field, if Joe's out in the field and I hit publish sets, he has no internet connection. He would have to wait till he gets back to his hotel or his home if he works close to the job site before he can download them, right? And I'll show you what that looks like because I will share from my iPad here. So let me go and hit cancel. I am then going to go into my iPad here. Let me share from there. Boom, and then my iPad.
I'm going to show off that fancy iPad or Apple sharing, screen mirroring function
mirroring
for Zoom now.
Yes, and now I'm in here. It is an app. It's in my bottom right. It's right here. Oops. Click it. I'm already signed in. It'll ask you to sign in. The only downside I've seen to the app, or Starbucks Wi-Fi, yeah. The only downside I've seen to the app is you cannot physically join a project here. You have to be in the URL, this Bluebeam Drawings, I'll show you to join the project, because there's nowhere to join an active project, unfortunately. But we'll show you how to join it from the URL. So you can just go to Safari and on your iPad and join the project, but then you'll see it here. And as you can see, file share has 7 updates available and it was updated 23 minutes ago. because I'm connected to the Wi-Fi, right? So I can click on that one and it's going to tell me which ones need to upload. It's going to tell me how much space is required. I could skip the updates if I'm a bad employee, but I'm going to not be a bad employee for the day and say download, because we want to see how long it takes to download too, right? So I'm just going to hit download and it's going to take a couple of seconds. Boom, already done. And now I'm back at my project and I can see my PDFs. So I can go in here and look at what's been changed or what's been uploaded. So as I'm just clicking through my set, I can also see at the top right corner right here my revisions. So there's a little back arrow. I've set my settings to only have the previous revision versus all of them downloaded on my iPad, because my iPad mini has like a couple gigs of storage, unfortunately. But I can go through and look at my PDFs. I can scroll to the next one. And Jason did say a lot of our PDFs are from Bluebeam. My structural sets are from things that I've done in the real world in terms of when I was out in the field. Okay, but going back in, hyperlinks still work. So if I scroll on in, I can click on this. It will then say, great, I'm going to open up to a PDF of that S2.1, and now I can scroll into my details and see what's happening. Now, this is the drawings application. This is meant specifically for viewing PDFs. It is not meant to coordinate by marking up. There's no action completing list or anything like that, okay? This is just specifically meant for viewing. It can be downloaded on your iPhone, your iPad, your Android, your, I don't know about a notebook or anything like that. I'd have to go and look at the store for those. Your Surface Pro can have it too. I guess you could have it on your notebook if you have internet connection, because you can go to the URL.
Right. It would be all internet based on a Surface or anything else, but iOS and Android, there's a specific app for this.
Yep.
It's free. But as Michael mentioned, this is only for viewing, but this is so much better than using email, right? You're looking at emailed plans, you don't know how accurate they are. By using drawings, you're making sure that everybody who has access to that has the latest and greatest at all times.
Or a paper set.
Or a paper set,
wet,
right?
As you're walking through.
Mm-hmm.
So I will show you, I will stop the share here, go back to my screen, and how do I get access to the project? It's right up here under join project, or like when you were invited, right? You could say join too, but there is no join from the app. You have to use a URL, which is just logging in using your same ID to log in, and you can join the project here.
Now there's a question here. When you upload PDFs through drawings, does it go to Bluebeam Studio projects or sessions, or are those totally different things? Those are totally different things. For the most part, these only work with studio projects.
You can, however, upload PDFs from your project to sessions. And we've talked about that in our studio morning coffee review. I think it was like two away. And for those of us, for those of us that didn't know, you can go to our YouTube channel at ATG USA. So let me go to here. And and we're live. Hello, everyone. You can go down to the morning coffee review and scroll down to the bottom, because these are where your new ones are, and they're even labeled, look at that, studio. I showed someone the other day because they were wondering about quantity link, which we did a whole one on that.
When did we get the topics on there? Thank you to whoever did that.
I don't know who's been doing them, but I am very appreciative. I'm guessing it's Justin, or is it DJ CJ? It's probably DJ CJ.
This is why you rock. Reason number 542. Anyway, because this is always coming. I know we covered that a couple weeks ago, but I don't remember what we talked about. So
yeah, because I think, did you go back, DJ CJ, to? Dang, she did.
That?
Wow.
Dang. All right. So yeah, we covered studio versus projects. In where was that?
That's right here.
Studio. So our August 17th. We talked all about projects versus sessions. go take a look at it. Lots of good content on there. And hello, everybody on YouTube land who's watching YouTube through YouTube, sort of an inception thing.
As we're scrolling through YouTube.
Right. Remember, if you have any questions over there on YouTube, feel free to type them in because those are relayed to us over here on Zoom.
Alrighty, so that's drawings. Do we have any more questions?
Looking here, there was a comment, of course, from David about somehow John Hancock's signature on the Declaration of Independence would not be the same with the digital signature.
I know, you can beat me up over it.
I'm pretty sure that would blow his mind. Like, okay, now you're done. Digitally sign this, and what's a digital? All right, is drawing strictly a viewer?
Yes.
Strictly a viewer. That's it. You can print from there, right?
I don't think so.
No?
Can you? What, you hold it down? Let me look.
Is there an option there? I mean, it would still print, but maybe not to the same scale and stuff. So viewing is all you get. It's gonna.
I can't even hold it down to print.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a viewer. Can you airdrop?
It's not. It doesn't let you download, so it's in its own software.
Okay.
You
so
cannot
no downloading. You can't use it for a file share. Good question. If you did want to share things, if you did want to have that capability, use it just a standard project because this is where your files are anyway, and invite them to the project through review.
Yep, you can get access from here, and then you can just go to your documents and you can right click on them and use a shareable link.
Okay, good question here. Does it work for someone who doesn't have a Bluebeam license?
Yes, Drawings does work with people that don't have a license. It is a free app. Again, you only need access. You only need a license with maintenance if you need to upload the PDFs.
Right.
If you're the maintaining person of it, yeah.
Yeah, if you're uploading, then you need a license. If you are just a viewer, it's a great way to do this, right? Because you can download a free trial of Bluebeam Revu on the desktop, and when that trial expires, you will be left with a free version, which still gives you access to the studio. But otherwise, yeah, you can see this for free.
Chris, what are we talking about in drawings or projects?
In Bluebeam Drawings, can you add folders?
I've never added folders. Let me go to the project.
Well, good. That's what we do here on Morning Coffee Review is we experiment.
I think it's just the set because you can see the sets here from your tabs, but there is no.
Yeah, so you'd have to create that set, or so that set for, cut sheets or view specs.
Yeah.
You have to do that when you set this up.
Yeah, it's when you're uploading. You have the ability to decide which discipline it is. General, survey, mapping, interiors, architectural.
Other disciplines, shop drawings.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that would be the way you could organize it, I guess. So then you can, it's all sheets. No, not all sheets, just the architectural sheets. You could do it by filter discipline and sort by those.
Can you filter on the iPad?
Yeah, there's filters. So it's at the top.
Okay, there you go. I was looking around. Where is my iPad? I've got it in my travel bag.
It is at the top. We still have 10 minutes. Are there any other questions?
Can you upload a digitally signed file into Drawings?
Well, yeah, you just put in the project when it's signed and then You upload it there. Because it's still viewable, but it's not, because you can't modify in a studio session. In drawings. Now,
Correct.
if you want to mark up, we've done this before in this video. Where's our field stuff? It was just here.
The field workflows.
Here it is. So you can use your studio sessions to mark up out in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you still keep it in a project? We've talked about that before, how you can link that to your session, right? So you can add PDFs to a session. Then when I'm out in a session in the field, I can then mark up the PDFs.
Mm-hmm. That's what that little icon indicates. And that's a pretty good workflow. I had a couple calls about that last week about how do I use an iPad in the field? And how do I get that to transfer back and forth? Because there are other software, Esri has a field worker, Autodesk doesn't. Oh, I guess with BIM 360 you can.
They do.
And, and Construction Cloud. Like how do I get real-time results? I don't want to wait till the end of the day for someone to come back into the office and download everything. How do I get real-time updates? And when it comes to basically free stuff, using the studio session out in the field works great.
Yes, you can work without internet connection out in the field. So in sessions, you can disconnect from the internet. And when you're marking up in the session, you won't have anything published. It'll be under pending here. And then when you finally reconnect, all of your markups will then publish to the set.
Yep. So Studio does work offline, but make sure you have the file open prior to leaving the office or leaving connection.
I think it downloads locally, right?
Right.
All of these download locally after you've opened them, or do you have to have it open?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I think they all download locally in the session because when I'm offline, I still have them all.
Oh wow.
You just have to join the session. Yeah. The only time you wouldn't see one is if someone uploaded it when you're offline, but you would see it when you came back on. Now, that's different for projects because you have to have the sync function enabled.
Mm-hmm.
You can set it all to sync, right? But that's up to you on how you want that to work.
And we talked more about that sync function in that YouTube video that Michael was talking about from a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Because that does affect lots of things. All right. So while we're talking about questions, so here in the morning coffee review, I see a lot of new names to the attendees list. Thank you for coming. We're glad to have you. We hope we see you in the future as well. So how this works is if you have any questions, type them in. Doesn't matter. We'll cover anything. Also, when
even
you
if we don't
exit
know
today,
it.
even if we don't know it, especially if we don't know it, because we like to learn too. When you exit today, you will be given a little survey. Talk about how we did. That helps us improve our topics and our presentation skills. And also it will say, hey, do you have any questions about anything else? And we use that information to help us decide these topics. So as we're talking about next Tuesday, we're skipping, right? Just because of the Labor Day weekend. But we'll be here for Wednesday, 8:30 Pacific time, where we'll do our morning coffee review goes west. And we haven't decided a topic. Our topic will likely come from those survey results, right? So we're responding directly to what you all want to see and not just what we think we want to do, right? So as I mentioned, digital signatures have come up a lot in support and questions recently, so that's why we talked about it today. So we're happy to cover whatever topic you want. This is what we do for the Bluebeam community. It's fun for us. ATG has given us tons of support for doing this. And of course, we can't do this without DJ CJ as well. But this is something that we're doing for you guys, the community. And when I say you guys, I mean all of us, because we're trying to be. We're in that community too, aren't we, Michael?
Yeah,
we use this stuff every day.
We are part of the community. We were in the community prior to being more of the consulting end and being BCIs. So we're here to learn as much as you all are here to learn, and say hello to each other as we see familiar faces, and hand out prizes, which we should probably do one again here soon, shouldn't we, Jason, at some point?
We really should do that soon. Well, stay tuned for a future episode, huh?
Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll do that next Wednesday. Yes.
We'll have our people talk to your people.
Prizes.
Wait,
yeah, we'll
our
do it.
people are the same
Okay.
people. Okay.
Yeah. We'll
If
do
DJ CJ
prizes
says
next
so,
Wednesday.
then pretty much that's what's going to happen. So you'll definitely want to tune in next Wednesday, 8:30 Pacific time, and we'll have some fun.
You'll be here for that one, right, Jason?
I will.
Okay.
There will be a couple coming up. Ooh, let's tease this. So there's a couple of things, morning coffee reviews coming up where I unfortunately won't be able to attend because I'll be on site with a client. But we've got some special guests planned, and we're talking special guests. So I'm pretty excited about this. I can't wait to watch the YouTube video myself and see what all you talk about. But that's not for a few more weeks.
Yeah, so we will have special guests that are not from the ATG world. We'll give that hint away. And be sure to tune in for those videos. We will be publishing teaser videos for those ones. We will have time set away.
Mm-hmm.
If not, always in your email, DJ CJ is on top of it, getting down to the point of what we'll be talking about. Jason and myself may not be able to put out videos or anything on our LinkedIn pages, unfortunately, but always be aware there's an email, and ATG will post it on their LinkedIn as well for what will be talked about. And I believe all social media aspect for that matter. If you're following ATG, don't forget to follow ATG for any of those items. Anything else to add? We still have 3 minutes. We can take a question. So feel free to ask. Again, we are here for you all. And please fill out the survey at the end if you want to see something special. Or just let us know how we're doing, because we like knowing how well we are or what we need to improve on.
Absolutely. It certainly makes a difference. So again, I gotta say thank you again. It's pretty awesome to have so many consistent faces and names, as well as seeing new names pop up on both, the YouTube side and the Zoom side. It means a lot to us that this momentum that we're doing is staying pretty steady. So I appreciate the opportunity to do this and interact with you all. So keep an eye out for those emails and that LinkedIn teaser about what we'll be talking about next Wednesday when Morning Coffee Review goes west.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. And we appreciate you, just like Jason was saying. Thank you, HG team. Thank you, David.
All right. Well, with that, we'll just wrap up a couple minutes early. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday, September 8th at 8:30 Pacific time.
Pacific.
We won't be here Tuesday.
Yes.
Michael gets to sleep in.
Yes, I do. Thank you, everyone. And there will be a prize, so be sure to tune in.
Sounds good.
Thank
All
you.
right.